Hi, welcome to the Freeman Conversations. My name is Fred Langido, the news editor of the Freeman. Today is July 17, 2018. Welcome to another hour of conversations. Joining us this afternoon is the man of the hour, our regional director of the Land Transportation Office Central Visayas, Director Vic Caindec. Director Caindec, welcome to the Freeman Conversations.
Welcome, Sir Fred.
How are you?
Doing well, very well.
You're at the center of the controversy in the past few days. Ikaw ray tao so far murag nakitaan nga nakig-away sa mayor sa Cebu City. How is it so far?
Well, personally speaking, ko ako lang, I'm perfectly okay. It's something that is allowing me to take my head off the bigger problems of LTO. I actually see this as just friendly banter, but apparently my family does not take the pressure too well, no, on this end. So it's my wife and my children that's being affected by mga messages, mga threats. But I take everything in stride. If it was just me, why problema?
Threats? You said threats? Whether...
Yes. On my messenger account, it started propping on the evening of Thursday. And subsequently thereafter, so akong buhat, i-ignore na ako.
That's Wednesday last week?
Thursday last week.
Thursday last
Evening.
week. What is that? Death threats?
Yeah, pagbantay, dili ka puthaw ulo, etc. etc. So, my mom used to say, it's all par for the course. Kung kat kita lang.
How are you taking it?
You know, I always believe that fate never comes to us at the moment of our choice. No? But also that fate will always favor the prepared.
And that threat came after, your spot.
Immediately after. Wala man ko yung mga threats buyag-buyag lang sa LTO prior to it, especially not on social media where my account has been very private in most of the time.
So it is through Messenger, Facebook
Yes,
Messenger.
through Messenger, and a few coming in via text.
And you know the account holder?
Well, obviously you will not make a threat if that was you really, no?
So it's a troll.
Maybe.
And you think that has something to do with your, the controversy that you are in with Mayor Camilo Osmeña?
Well, the chronology could not be any farther from, no. That's the timelines between when the whole thing started and subsequently thereafter. I'm not saying that it came from the same person or the same people, no. But the timeline of when it came in was almost directly related to the start of the conflict or whatever you call it.
And this is the first time I've heard about the threat to your life. Have you taken the necessary precautions? Like, have you reported it to the police?
Well, una sa tanan, I think that if someone wants to get you, they will get you, whether they send you a threat or not, no? The police have more important matters to attend to than watch over someone like me. On the other side, of course, we take some precautions. We are, shall I say, more careful with how we move. But the thing about threats is that they curtail your freedom, and that's the whole intent of it. So if you subject yourself to fear, you can no longer do what you have to do. And para nako, okay ron, anhala na
So
siya.
it does not affect your job at all?
No. Has nothing to do with my job nor what I have to do. It simply just affects my family. So that's perhaps the more important aspect for me in all of this.
So what panini mo na pa-blatter or something?
Wala pa, but I intend to talk to NBI. They have a very good cybercrime unit.
Okay.
So I'm just saving all the messages that come in. But I sent a message to Facebook to ask for a trace.
Can you read some of those threats just for the benefits of our viewers who are viewing us?
Ako naging
right
hide ang threat ako ka ng mga message notifications na.
Wait. Aron ato lang mahibawan og unsa nga types sa threats ang nadawat ni Director Caindec. Immediately after sa controversy nga nalamigit siya with Mayor Tommy Osmeña.
Sige, just...
So I'm asking Director Caindec right now og
Actually, if you go to my Facebook account, I posted also some of the snapshots of that. Hinay man ako internet.
well anyway.
Yes, sir. Anyway, I'll open it as we talk.
Okay. Now, so you believe that really this has something to do with your with the controversy that you're in with Mayor Tanya.
Yeah. Well, it's childish at the very least. Cowardice or cowardice. No? It's not something that I would like to even give attention to. In the end, moreover, like I said, it is what it is.
But do you intend to, take the possible legal action?
Well, it all depends because if people behind this hide under the cloak of anonymity, then there's very little that you can do except perhaps to get it investigated, have it blotted, and all of these things. Like I said, in my perspective, there are bigger things that our police need to do. But of course, it does not prejudice the fact that I'm taking precautions also.
Yeah. But of course, you need to take the necessary precautions because what will be the result is going to be irreversible.
Morning, giingon sa if it's your time, it's your time. But the thing there is that if I succumb to what they intend me to feel, then humana ang duwa. Humana ang kanitanan. But I'm not doing this for myself. I'm voicing out the sentiment of, I think, a majority of Cebuanos who see the ineptness of governance that is happening today in our city. I just came into your office and I just saw that hollow blocks sa inyong doorstep. The thing that perhaps people are giving attention to the subject is that it affects the Cebuanos and how we conduct our way of life. I grew up in the streets, no? Kanang mga iskina-iskina daw, kanang mga tinaguang iskina diha na kurot naman ko nagsuok-suok din eh. And this wasn't Cebu before, no? I remember that corner when there's this fantastic bookstore, right? And you'd spend time reading your books. Hindi mo tatapalit og libro, di mo basa-basa lang ta dito. Long before the national bookstores and the other bookstores came about, there was one fantastic bookstore by the corner of the street. And the corner department store across your office brings memories of childhood, di ba? Nga, kanabang kaingon kang, this is where I grew up in. And I have walked the streets of Colon. I grew up basically in Cebu. And my heart has always been a Cebuano, although I was not born in Cebu. 1 month raman taon ko sa Lanao, gipanganak sa akong mama, gikawat mo ko sa akong lola. Kaya bayad mo ko sa utang. As the eldest of the apos, no? So, anyway, I think the thing is, it's when I speak about the things I've spoken the past few days, it has never been about me. It had always been about us being a city, the constituency that is here, and finding suddenly a voice. I never realized that ang ako daing sentimento reflected the sentiment of a lot of other people.
Yeah. I'll go into details on that later on, but I'd like to focus more on the threat because this is something it concerns us also. No?
Yes.
So you intend to report that to National Bureau of Investigation?
NBIS.
When?
maybe within the week when I find time to visit them. But like I said, it's not something that I would have to do purposely, no? Maybe naman ko'y constant na updates with the NBI for the initiatives that we are doing no? to stop the corruption in LTO, the investigations on the fixers and all these things. So I think maybe when I get the chance to talk to Director Bernales, that's what I'll do.
But right now, did you get yourself a bodyguard? Not yet. Is there a necessity right now?
These are all the messages there now. But that doesn't reflect everything there. Ako about is din ako ablihan kay ablihan ako makiba mo gud siya nga.
Okay.
Nahadlo ko nabasa na.
So you got 8 threats on the messenger.
Yeah, that made me
since Thursday.
Sabot that I'm actually on the right path. I'm a good friend of the speaker. Ingon siya bay wa pa kay death threat. Ingon ana siya rin siya. Aw. Gasugod na kagbuhat sa imong trabaho nga tinuod. You're actually starting to do your job because if you just manage the status quo, then that means you're not changing anything. Because if the standard is the status quo and people are unhappy with the status quo, then that means to say, what kayo nabuhat na change? But when you start doing something and it actually affects them to a point that you agitate them, that they're forced to take an action as aggressive as a threat, then that means to say, you're probably doing something to change that status quo.
For our viewers, join us in our conversations. You can send in your questions for Director Caindec, and we would be obliged to ask the question for you. Now, let me backtrack a little, Director Caindec. I'm just curious, how did it start, your conflict with Mayor Camusman?
Well, it started as me replying to a social media message that he posted on his page. No? So
what was that message?
It started with this thing about the motorcycle dealers and the registrations and warning them about their LTO registrations. So
Okay.
the first message was just a soft reference to the agency. So I asked some channels, and some may issue, what is it that's affecting the mayor that he would do something like that? So allow me to understand. So if there's something I can do, I'd like to take action on it personally.
Okay.
Because there were times when I would back channel with him on certain things. Like there was a time that this vehicle did a U-turn in the SRP tunnel, and they reported it online. I took action. I gave them the information, all these things. No? There are other things like his people running the traffic unit. They would ask me for this and this, and I said, "Pwede naman siguro." So I've always kept an open line, not directly to him. And I said, okay ra. Oh, okay ra ka no. And then the second post. So I said, you don't have to post something like that if you felt that was important. What you would do is you would call my office, and if you think that I am not within your level, then you let somebody, a deputy or, kinsa diha sa imong mga tao, you let them call me because maybe I don't merit your attention. And then you tell them to tell me what the problem is so I can resolve it.
Okay.
Now, why is that a sensitive issue for me? It is a sensitive issue because we're trying our best, our darnest best, to fix LTO in the very short time I have been there. I joined LTO January 22. Wala pa ko'y 6 months. And, if you want to change, and I've done a lot of work doing change management in my private work. No? The first thing you have to do if you want to change is to give people hope that change can happen. That's what we're trying to do in LTO.
Yeah.
Our social media page, we built it up with just 2,000 followers. We're about, 13,000 followers now. We're putting information that used to be not transparent into social media so people can access. Wala may forms. You don't need to go to the medical clinic beside us. These are the forms. This is how you download. Steps What are the steps? How long should it take you, etc., etc. We're showing them. We're working closely with private sector groups who have been coming to me and say, we want to help you. You know, SMC said, when we opened the temporary offsite printing office there, it was just an idea that we wanted to copy in Manila. But we didn't have money for rent, we didn't have money for a lot of things to put it together. And SM management said, oh, what do you need, RD? Over coffee, we were having breakfast. What do you need, RD? Okay, you want me to tell you? Why don't you give me a space, you pay for my electricity, and you pay for our internet? And then this cashier said, what may budget na? You're a mall. We can support each other. I can bring people in there. Anyway, it's a non-revenue activity. People don't have to pay anything there. But I explained to them, look, this is the number of backlogs we have to print. I can assure there's going to be a lot of people going there. So they gave us the space. In a span of 6 weeks, we were able to roll out the first temporary offsite printing office. That decongested our offices. But even before that, we were open. I directed on the second week I came in. 6 a.m., abli na dapat ang LTO, hanggang 6 p.m. And people were still crowding our offices. And I said, look, what are the numbers we're dealing with? We're not printing enough. People are still unhappy. We're gauging public sentiment on social media. So we opened the topo. And then another businessman said, hala, bay, nindot na siya, director. Says, I'm a friend of Bongo. Can I ask him to help you? I said, yeah, it takes me so long to get this equipment. So he said, when we met with Secretary Bongo and si Secretary Bongo, Rick, tulungan mo si Big. O sige, ganito. In 2 weeks, we were able to open the topo in Mactan. ICM. Each topo now is capable of handling about 10,000 transactions a month. Just 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, sige sa kong bigyan sa Bohol. So Bohol Media has been very active. Now, I went to Bohol, unannounced, by myself, and I went to her office and said, you know, I'm even embarrassed to tell people now that I'm the director. So I just walked out in embarrassment and sheer frustration. So I called my admin, I called my operations, and I called the ARD pool guy. I said, what can we do in Bohol? And they said, you know, sir, these are problems, etc. Okay. What are we about? And then I got mine. Somebody gave my number to Bohol Media. And Bohol Media calls, and director, ganito, muna yung mga problema. It went all the way to Secretary Tugande. And he was so pissed off. He said, Sec, I have to explain myself. If you don't mind, this is the problem. This is my analysis of why this problem is being caused by these factors. And these are the solutions. Can you give me some time? He says, ayusin nyo yan. Hindi ako makatulog. Si Ase calls me. Ayusin mo yan. Yes, sir. Last week, we opened in Alturas a space, a prime space, a prime location in a new mall in downtown Bohol. Again, in a PPP perspective, we were not asked to pay. We were given 4 months. The air conditioning works perfectly. They produce all the seats, the tables, even the high-speed connection with the help of Mayor Babaya and the help of Governor Chato and the help of the private sector, especially to the owners of Alturas. No? So si Mr. Marlito. So we're making a lot of improvements. But obviously, you cannot please everybody. People will still say, LTO is this, LTO is that. And then someone who is supposed to be very well respected, comes in and says, I'm warning you, LTO. What you're doing is you're killing the hope of people that change is finally starting to take place in my office. And as the head of that office, I cannot allow that. And that's when I spoke.
So that's, in other words, somehow you feel slighted.
Not personally. But you know, when people refer to LTO, and rightfully so, this is an agency that has consistently ranked number 3 in the most corrupt agencies in the country. Consistently ranked. When I met my people in LTO, I said, you either want to change, the conditions for you to change do not exist. If you are willing to go through this change process, I will provide the conditions for you to change. We have done a lot. I filed a case against one of my district heads that actually created a lot of fear inside the organization. But I said, look, this is a message that I want to send. I'm not going to posture around and tell you I'm going to fix LTO. I'm going to file the case myself. And I did. We went to NBI and we talked to NBI and said, Director Bernales, I don't want to run after fixers myself. I don't have that competency nor the expertise. So can you lend us some people? Ingon niya, why problema, Director? And they did. We caught the guys that were producing fake licenses. Now we're running after the guys who are really facilitating transactions within LTO and in connivance with people inside LTO. So, unsay nga sa NBI, mingaw man rod sir, ingo nahadlok na sila. So, all of these things are now watered down by the statement of one powerful and influential person saying, LTO is not doing its job. Mona, I, being the leader of that organization today, it is my duty to tell him, Sir, hinay-hinay, sad. Diba? Because there are good people in my agency. Just like the PNP, there may be rotten eggs, but they're doing internal cleansing. We're doing the same thing. But you cannot let people lose hope. Otherwise, people will say, wala ni pag-asa itong buwan. We just work like everybody else. We just do what everybody else does. And then you just keep the status quo. I've never been known to be in an organization to keep the status quo because I'm the guy they bring in to assess if the problem can be fixed and fix it. And if not, to kill it.
Was there even an attempt from the mayor to talk to you regarding that concern?
No.
No. So, out of the blue, nag-rant na lang siya lang doon sa Facebook, mautong napugos kag tubag.
Basically, yes. And I had to tell him, if you want to do my job, may I just remind you, my professional experience and background, and you can look me up anywhere, I have done a good job where I have been. No? Ngayon mo ko ingnan, ngayon mo kong ingnan nga I'm warning you, warning ko.
Basically, the concern of the mayor is the delayed registration of the motorcycle. Can you enlighten us on this, sir?
Well, the concern of the mayor is on a particular subject that is not a priority if he were the mayor. Because the priority, like I said earlier, is the baha at your doorstep that continues to hound you when it rains, right?
Yeah.
The garbage that you see around you when you're just walking around the streets of the city, and the traffic when you go home or come to work or come to school and go home from work and school. As the mayor of the city, that is your job. Allow me to do my job, but I take cognizance of the fact that you have raised that concern. In fact, even before he started ranting about that particular subject, I have already made communications to LTO Central Office on process changes that we want to initiate. Being in government, one of the biggest challenges that I faced, somebody from outside of government, is that there's a bureaucratic process that whether you like it or not, you have to follow. Otherwise, kiha ka sa ombudsman or makuha ka.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, a simple call would have sufficed to say, Director, daghan na kay kubutan tinasuko na ko, unsa may tubag ani? And I could have easily given him the assurance. Because this subject, whether it's an issue of registration or licensing, atong i-compare two stories of the same thing. There was a big issue about licenses in Bohol. Imagine, ang Tagbilaran serves the entire island of Bohol in a very small and dinky place called LTO Tagbilaran Office. The aircons weren't functioning. We don't have enough seats. In other words, the place was built, 20 years ago for the capacity of 20 years ago. Still delivering the same facility and now addressing the needs of today. The mayor of Tagbilaran posted on Facebook to say, ayaw mong kabalaka, I will find a way to get in touch with LTO. And he did. And I talked to him. And then I went to the governor and talked to him also. And they said, Director, unsay mo mabuhay? He stopped talking about it. But he said, I assure you, we will be helping you address it. And we did, in 2 weeks.
So you're saying that should have been the attitude of Mayor Tommy Osmeña?
I'm not going to dictate how his attitude should be. It is not my place. I am just saying that as a leader of the city, he is duty bound, perhaps, to reach in the right manner the stakeholders to deliver whatever concerns that he has gikan sa iyang constituency. But not like that. Because, to me, mura ba o di sakto? For loss of a better term.
So, sige. Please explain to us o nganong naa na concern sa mayor about the delayed registration. So, how is it the process diha sa LTO sa Pagkakaroon?
Motives kasi, the motives on that statement is what made it sensitive. It started with his EO. Naghimo siya EO to counterflow and to impound, no? But the victims of the EO were motorcycles mostly, not four-wheel vehicles. And that marginalized a certain sector, kani mga motorcycles na users, no? Perhaps he did a survey, hapit naman political season. Probably, nahimo na siyang big noise or a big concern. And he was trying to redeem his reputation on that particular sector. So, yan ang raise ang issue sa registrations. Now, what is the specific accusation? He said that I am apprehending motorcycles without registrations and letting them pay 12,000 pesos. Nowhere in my mission orders, nowhere sa ako ang mission orders, indicate that I asked my operations teams to go after motorcycles without registrations. My mission orders had always been, go after road safety violators. At the point of apprehension, wa kay rehistro, manatman mo yun ka. Because we cannot be selective in enforcing the law.
Correct.
Right? O wa ka nag-helmet, nadakpan ka, wa kay lisensya, ang dili ka ikon. So, subsequently, he tried to pick up on a very, because in our records, less than 50 motorcycles were apprehended without registrations. In the entire report that was submitted to me, over the course of year-to-date na apprehensions, wa man kabot og 50 na dakpan. Having said that, I still recognize na mauna iyang concern. And that's why I said, easily he could have asked people from my end and we could have easily explained to him why. Now, I'll explain to you so that the people of Cebu will understand.
Yeah.
As a government agency, we have our budget set every year. Wala na'y pwede madungag o makuwang unless appropriated by DBM. What happened? We have X number of people doing X number of work.
Yeah.
And then we were given the go signal to start printing the backlogs of licenses. At the time we started printing the license cards, our backlog was somewhere around 387,000 roughly, no? Just for Region 7. But that number also was growing by the day because of the capacity issue. So, in the simplest of terms, when I opened the topos, we took 10 people out to put in the topo who were supposed to do things inside LTO already on regular basis. So, naghimo mig temporary printing office, among gitangka na po kataog butan ako dito. We opened a second topo, we put in another 7 people. That's minus 17 headcounts of doing what they were supposed to be doing. If you were the regional director, you would address the backlog because of the sheer number of transactions that need to be processed. 380,000 na lang ato ibutang. Imo na unahon. Where will you get the headcount? Will you sacrifice the transactions that transpire every day? Or look at the transactions that somehow you can defer? And the decision was, let's take out some people from the regional registration unit and let's take out some people from operations. And we put them there. So, muhina yung registration. Pilosopo man sa Kugtuba. Ano ako nang dali-dalion ang rehistro nga na traffic ng Cebu. Diba? Nanay niyo mo kung dali-dalion, ana. Also, I am being pressured unfairly by the dealers to release the registrations because ilang man ang marketing gimmick. kanang ilang mga low down payments is what's causing all of this. Dapat unta, o wala pa na rehistro yung sakyanan, whether motorsiklo na or auto, dili na pwede i-release. That is the rule. Now, papirma mo kag-waiver, ikaw sa ni palit, down payment kag 8,000, excited kay ka, o imo din dalhin mo auto, pero wala pa na siya ng rehistro.
But is that illegal?
You cannot say it is illegal because the legality of it is when you use it on the road and you go into an accident, you don't have the registration.
But what's the rule on that? For the dealers, you're saying you cannot release the vehicle unless it is registered.
Ila mag-circumvent with travel permit.
But
right?
can you do something about it?
Conduction.
Inani ni siya. Kanin mo sakyanan, for it to be legally traveling the roads, it has to be registered.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So you go to the dealer, you buy a vehicle. Ingon ang dealer, para binaning histro. Unsa man na, ganahan mo kay uli akong sakyanan, kay excited mo kay ko. Taganti ka og waiver. Pirmahi ang waiver.
But is that allowed?
Technically speaking, no.
And what is the LTO doing about it?
LTO's policy has been tolerant. Why?
Okay.
Because that is business. That is creating, that's helping the economy to move.
Okay.
Now, like I said, we are being tolerant because also, niangkon man ang LTO that this problem existed. And this is a problem we inherited from the past administration. So, kana bang gitawag og win-win unta ba? Sige, i-release na ninyo, pero dili man gina siya dapat ninyo ipagamit. You get excited. How's the process of registration? You report the stock, that it is now sold to somebody. Then you register the vehicle. From LTO, we register that set of information in our database, dealer pays, etc. etc. Now, giutang man na nimo. So, moadto na pud ni ang imong dealer sa Registry of Deeds. Dalhon niya imong registration dito. Otherwise, kung iya na i-dito hatag nimo ang imong registro, down ra kag 8,000, ibaligya na imong dito. Good as sold na, di ba? So the chattel process takes another time. That is not sa kamot sa LTO. That is in another agency, which is the Registry of Deeds. From Registry of Deeds, they bring it back to LTO. And then we annotate it and release the registrations with annotations. Now, you think that process will take 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Ang Registry of Deeds lang daan, dugay biya kay sila. So, like we said, we take a policy of tolerance so that people and the economy will move. Nowhere did we say, dakpan ang tanan may plate number din ha. Kay ba man mi nga naa mi pagkuwang as an agency. It is a sin of the past that we are paying for and trying to fix today. So, the explanations around all of this are well in place. Ang question naman, ganahan ba ka mo sabot o dili?
So you're saying that the LTO cannot be blamed entirely for the whole process because there is another agency involved and it's the Register of Deeds for most of the motorcycles being sold by the dealers.
Una, when you sell the motorcycle, that process is covered by DTI. And that's the sales process ba? That's a Department of Trade and Industry nga regulation na dapat imo poton. Pwede ba guday natin ani pagbaligya sa ako ang may registro? Di ba?
Okay.
Kada mo yung unang-unang kuwata na.
Mo gani siya. So akong klarohon ang process ini before ang dealer mo baligya sa iyahang vehicle, motorcycle or four-wheel vehicle, it should be registered.
Of course. When you buy a gun at ka gun store. Okay? Same concept, no? The product is regulated, you need a license and a permit for that product. Let's not call it a vehicle, that's a product. You go to a gun store and say, I want to buy a firearm. So, maingon ang gun store, pamili din sir. Kanin. Imo na siyang bayaran, but before you can even pay for it, even if you have the money in your pocket now, they will say, do you have the license to own the firearm?
Correct.
So you wait for the license to own the firearm. It takes some time, right?
Yeah.
And when your LTO finally arrives, you pay for the gun. They will not give you the gun today. They will first send that confirmation to PNP. They will process the paperwork, they will get the gun license, and then they will release the gun to you.
Yeah.
Now, nana sa imo ang pusil, lipay na kay ka. Mabitbit na nimo dili na pod. Kay kinahanglan man ka og permit to carry. So kung nipalit ka ng pusila, ang ihatag sa imo sa imong gun store is a permit to transport. Iulit na yung balay, tago na yung imong kwarto. Kung gusto to nimo dalon sa gawas, mo apply na sa permit to carry. The same principle applies. Whether that's a gun or a vehicle. Why? Because these two things are not what you call basic liberties. These are not rights.
Yes.
These are privileges of government extended to its citizens. When you get a license, reklamo ka na ko, grabe ng LTO ka inefficient. Tibok adlaw ko gahawat. Do you not realize, by complaining about it, you have exercised a character that is unacceptable if you were driving? Ano naman? If you get stuck in mambaling traffic, and you get stuck 4 hours in mambaling like I do, and you do not have the patience, mag-road rage ka. But the privilege extended to you by our agency gives you the right to drive for 5 years. Di ka kaagwantaw sa adlaw. Can you not sacrifice that? Used to be 3 years lang na. The President signed the law that allowed us to extend the validity to 5 years. But what is the trade-off? That if you are now given the privilege of a 5-year license, you have to go to LTO, we will recapture your biometrics because it is out of a different system. It's a more robust system so that now the integrity of your 5-year license card can be honored. So di ba may mga 3 years maurag hapunta na? We have to change a lot of things, right? There are trade-offs.
Yeah. So, yes, there is a problem, but it is not intentional. Ngayon yung mag-delay.
Well, let's look at it this way. Of all the problems that have been presented to me as the regional director of this region, I have assessed the problem, I have analyzed the root causes, and I know the solutions. I just cannot implement everything.
Why?
Of course, you have time. No? If you follow management books, the first principle of fixing the problem is you understand the law of process. And the law of process states that things have to be sequentially in place before you can finish anything if you have a plan. To the contrary, our mayor does not seem to understand nor able to define the problem of what we now easily just and simplistically call the mambaling problem. Akong pangutana, gingnan mo ko niya, how do you take over mambaling? What is mambaling for you, mayor? Does that include just the Bacalso Road? Does that include the arterial roads? Does that include control of your sitong? Does that include control of your police? Are you giving up your powers of authority on certain aspects of governance in this particular section so I can implement it? In other words, we cannot even scope what the problem is. I said, look, I'll show you how it's done. Right?
Yeah.
But define to me the metrics by which you resign. I said that. I said that simply to ask, kasabot ka unsay imong gisulti mayor? Ningon ka imo ihatag mambaling nako, but remember my challenge was very specific. I'll show you how to fix your mambaling problem, but tell me what conditions you will state para mo resign ka. Because then you cannot even define what that problem is, what are the metrics, and what's the tipping point. Kano sa ang tama kay ba mo resign na ka? Naay pilosopo nga tubag. Passengers per hour per destination. How many passengers? Unsa may modalities atong gi-measure? Jeepney lang? Private vehicles? Are you measuring it today? How are you measuring it? Na kay baseline measure. Oh. If you have the baseline measure today, what's the baseline measure tomorrow and what's the timeline? Tipping points are very important to decision making, di ba? Because tipping points will tell you, oh mayor, ni-improve by 25%. Ang atong sabot, 24.5% mo resign na ka. O 25% na, asa na yung resignation? Di ba? Inana, unta. Kaya kami sa LTO naman may citizens charter. We are measured by our charter. So each transaction is counted, etc. etc. Pwede ka mo reklamo. We get ARTA-related complaints. And we have to explain it via the letters that come in through 8888. Now, ako as a citizen, I'm a taxpayer of Cebu. I used to be in the private sector, so kana binanarbaho to Cebu, paniabot sa itong kamot at itong kwarta, ako as a consumer, gano'n man yung pag-abot sa ATM gamay lang kayo, agi, kaltasan daan sa gobyerno. Right? The train law means that there's bigger taxes for people who make more money. I used to make more money. So, I am a taxpayer of the state. Can I not ask that question? Because, to me, when you tell me, you better fix your process, I know exactly what you're referring about. I just don't know what your expectation is. Now, let me throw back the question to you. What is your process? What is your problem? Do you even know it? We are simplifying the problem of mamaling.
I'll go back to that.
Sige, sir.
I'll go back to that later, sir. Ako lang yung una ko nag-address ng katong concerns, Mayor. So, how do you intend to address that problem, that delayed registration? You mentioned na ay mga process na gikinahanglan sa bayan na anak kay plano only nga time ang gikinahanglan.
Well, we have started long before this issue came about. We have already started reorganizing the regional structure of LTO. Because the process of centrally registering your vehicle is a mandate from our central office. No? In fact, that was an order given by the former Assistant Secretary of the previous administration. So, given that we have understood what hounds us in delivering the metrics that are expected of us in our ARTA or the charter, I wrote a letter and a proposal and an action plan to the central office. So, the central office is now giving me the instructions to implement it, but there are resource requirements to it.
Yeah. What are the
Una, you need headcount. We might have to reorganize some offices, etc., etc.
So, asa naman tadapita ron sa imuhang reorganization?
Well, our intention is to have that implemented by August. And subsequently, because we have other things that we need to do. No? So, yeah.
So that's.
Nakalagay ko ba? Hanag Angry Birds. I am now the most popular person in Cebu, not for the right reasons. Infamous. Okay na. Kaya ka nang nasa call center nga mo hate na ko, okay naman na. You are all entitled to your own freedoms. As am I.
Yeah. Well, some questions gikan sa ato mga viewers. This one from Ord Ona Derna. Please indicate your name properly, no? Aron atong properly acknowledge. The question is, ngano pabalikon pa man og August 2019 ang mo renew og driver's license?
I do not get the question. If you go to LTO and you renew it, you will be renewed. If you're referring to your plastic cards, there are times when the system goes offline. That's not within our control. That's either the problem of the backbone or the internet provider. But we tell them, look, if you want it really printed ASAP, go to the temporary offset printing offices. We have people, real people,
Not trolls.
who wrote and said, thank you very much for the experience. And these are random messages, no? You know, the thing that perhaps people looking at this interview do not understand is I do not have to be popular. I have to be effective. That's the problem because they think I need to make myself popular.
Being in public office is not a popularity, contest.
Monas, yeah, no? Even in the corporate world, I understand that for you to make the right decisions, it should not be based on popularity.
Correct.
It should be based on what is right, what is fair, and what is good.
This one is from Greg Ibrado Abangan Pantoliano. How about violators of counterflow?
If you use RA 4136, which is our traffic code sa Philippines, as a basis, ug nadakpan ka og TOP, counterflowing can only be fined or classified as reckless driving, and therefore there is no impounding involved.
Yeah.
You just pay the fine.
Mm.
Muna yung counterflowing offense because counterflowing is defined as reckless driving.
Yeah. So, the executive order issued by the mayor, which carries with it the penalty of 1 month impoundment, you're saying that is illegal?
If you use 4136 as a reference to create that order, it is my opinion that it is illegal because nowhere in 4136 does it state na pwede i-impound ang motor kay ni counterflow. Whether that's a motorcycle, that's a four-wheel vehicle, a dump truck, or even a pison.
But that is not within the authority of LTO to go after that illegal EO.
Well, we have been tolerant as an agency, like I said. We have given the mayor the leeway to do what he thinks is right. But when I was asked the question whether that was right or wrong, I said, if I read his EO, he referred constantly to RA 4136. But nowhere does it say in RA 4136 that counterflowing can be impoundable as an offense. So, in other words, if you constantly refer to our 4136 traffic law,
That's
wala yung isulti dito na ang counterflow, pwede ka mo impound, penaltihan ka.
But that is beyond the authority of LTO to take action.
That is beyond the authority of LTO. That is within the prerogative of any citizen who paid his taxes due to the city and a victim of that problem or that order to pursue legal action.
Okay, now let's go back to the mumbling controversy. Diha pang hindi nagsugod. Dihang nakakagipost sa Facebook somehow nag-ingon ka nga ug di masulbad sa mayor kini mga problemaha like the traffic, baha o uban pa. You are going to run for mayor. Are you serious with that, Director Caindec?
Politics is not my cup of tea. I don't have any personal plans of running for mayor. So if that ruffled the feathers of our good Mayor Tamos Menia, I am flattered.
With
nobody like me to ruffle his feathers is something.
With the free publicity that you are enjoying right now.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you so much.
With all the tarpaulins along the mumbling area, will this not change your mind?
Probably like I said, fate does not come to us at the moment of our own choice.
Okay, that answers the question. So, murag ubay-ubay gud kaayo ang kuan, ubay-ubay kaayo.
I'm the guy that everybody loves to hate, so bring it on. Puni ba yung question? Mayor, mga kuan, mga galamay diha sa imong Facebook page. Pukawa, papangutanhan ako kaya tugtubangon.
Daghan kayo mga daghan kayo mga comment na sa Facebook. Di na ako mabasa tanan ang inyong mga comments, especially katong mga dili pwede na itong basahon dili kanang in public. But why apprehend the new vehicles without registration?
Like I said, we never apprehended vehicles if you did not violate anything. Kadagan nilang kadagan na plate numbers. Kadagan nilang ilang mga plates kadudahan. But like I said, if you get caught for a violation and at the time that you were apprehended, nakita mo sa registro, you pay the consequence. Diba? How does that make me the bad guy? Ang problema magud sa ato ang, at least if I am to gauge how people are reacting to the things I've said and the things the course of events over the past few days, I'm surprised to think that our moral standard has changed. Ang tao na isayop, siya na isakto. Ang kita na sakto, kita na isayop. Is that where we want to go?
Yeah, that's a good question. Now, how about the fixers from Dumil?
Like I said, it's already with NBI. NBI doesn't even have to ask me kung ano saan sila mo operate. They're actively pursuing these things.
In the past, mo rin na mo nadakpan nga katong naghimo og fake
Fakes,
license
yeah.
dito sa liluan ni ano
Yeah.
pila nakabuok sa
Nakapiyansa na.
pila nakabuok mga fixers nga nag-operate sa imong office sa inyong dakpan, and how many of your own personnel nga inyong napailan og kaso because
Well, ang hepe mismo ato nung pangipailan ng kaso, no? So that, you know, this process of fixing the problems of LTO and what is referred to as fixers, they're probably confusing it with things, no? Like for example, madto ka, ganahan ka magpa-medical exam. Daghan kay mga canvassers, but these are not fixers. And they operate outside the perimeters of our office. Now, if you go to our offices where we have relocated now, like at sa J Center Mall, which is where LTO Mandawi is now, the guards of the mall actually ang mananghawa, pahawa sa mga tao na nagloiter. So, environmental gyapon na. Like I said, there's a lot that needs to change. We are in the process of fixing it. I'm just there 5.5 months. So, if people are not contented with that pace, ako bitong giingnan si Mayor Tam, take a hint, Mayor Tam. Between you and me, you need to get votes so you can be elected. Why only have to get fired? If people are unhappy, they can tell the president that I'm this big asshole that, you know, tangled with their mayor and they want me fired because they don't want me talking anymore. I only have to get fired. I serve at the pleasure of the president.
I have to ask this. Murag, this is my personal observation. Gamay ra kaayo ang issue you're saying, mahimo ra gid nimo ma-explain tong issue sa delayed registration, and then karon ni abot sa ingon niini ang issue ba, like you getting threats. Is this something na gigamit lang nga murag excuse sa mayor, or naay mas bugat pa nga rason probably nga nung gikontrahan ka sa mayor? What do you think?
Well, because this is perhaps the first time in a very long time that somebody spoke against him. And he is finding it very hard to spin the storylines of how he responds to my questions. Sa laktod ni istorya, galisod siya og lusot sa ako mga pangutana. And when I say something, he probably just doesn't realize that I am a son of Cebu City. I have lived in Cebu City all my life. I have friends in Cebu City. My family is in Cebu City. We are all affected by what is happening to the city. You know, the mayor has conveniently sanitized himself on Facebook. Diba? He has a strong and big following of millennials that were oblivious or does not even remember the time when he has become very oppressive and whimsical. What makes this very interesting is because the problem with mumbling highlighted all of that. That because his pride and his ego was hurt, that he would be willing to sacrifice the convenience of people. Mangpahid siya sa mga problema. Easily. Mingon ka, imo na ng mambaling ugma. May kaso. I never backed down or backed out of that challenge. I continue to challenge him there. As a mayor of Cebu City, what has been your vision? On that vision, what has been the back of that vision? Unsa may elements mo yung nga you want to make Cebu City #1 again? What are the indices? What's the quality of life what we have now? Etc. etc. I can ask him 1,000 questions, and I'm sure he's going to be confused with how he will answer it because he has been so busy. You know, he has been so vindicative that he goes after people just because he cannot answer straightforward what the problem is.
You think maura gid rason just because di siya makatubag sa imuhang
Nasuko na siya kay abi mo gud niya kaming Michael Dino. Tao ko ni Michael Dino.
Okay.
In fact, muna gayon nakita niya ba yung gi-print. I said, I thank you, Mayor, for making me famous, and also because at least you got a good angle to put on that poster. Guwapo mi puros. You know, ingon ni Roger Stone, politics is the show business of ugly people. Sabi ni saya, ang kaning politiko ako no, muni siya kasiawan o kalingawan sa mga batignaw. I thank the mayor because he made sure that the Cebuanos knew how handsome and articulate and intelligent the regional director of LTO is. Asa man ka, di ba ka masuko niya na? Si Michael Lino, gwapo kayo, ako gwapo kayo. Kaysa may di magpasalamat niya na sir. Di pa, I have never attacked him below the belt. In spite of him being the mayor of the city, he has constantly referred to me, not in my family name, but by the name Caindec. I am flattered that he has phallic desires of my family name. That's, if anything, I'm very happy.
Excuse us. Okay.
No holds barred. That's the essence of social media.
Is it true that this is going more like somehow this has become a proxy war between him and Mike Dino?
Well, small minds will believe it to be so. But Cebu cannot progress on the back of just mere public opinion na dili naka-hinge on the right principles.
But do you even agree to that perception that you are tao ka ni Mike Dino?
Mike Dino and I are good friends. We started together in the campaign to bring people to know who the President Duterte, Mayor Duterte then, no? We stood by the President when he was still mayor, and no one would even believe that he could stand a chance to win as president of this country. So, yeah, we're good friends.
I will rephrase the question. Are you Mike Dino's lucky?
Well, to me that is an insult. One, because we are now saying that the office of the presidential assistant and his appointee does not have a mind of his own that can fight Tommy Osmeña head to head. Second, perhaps people conveniently forget the fact that I am an appointee of the president.
Correct.
And my career has been built on my successes. Pwede ba tamang kambo? I have worked in multinational corporations, big ones. I have been one of the youngest GMs of one of the biggest multinational corporations in the world. The youngest GM during my time. I was GM at the age of 33, 34. I retired at the age of 36. Now, o ka na credential, dili na enough para niya, whatever I say, people will not believe. But if you ask me if I have a mind of my own, I graduated from UP High School, I graduated from UP College. Aktivista ko, member ko sa League of Filipino Students. Kanang consulate diha sa una, where BDO now is at QC Pavilion, usapos mga nagprotesta din ha. No? So, if they think that I am somebody's lucky, they are entitled to their own opinions. But, this lucky is actually frazzling the nerves of the most powerful man in Cebu. Thank you very much.
Yeah. LTO kipasangin lang na YPLJ gahapon sa Minglanilla, Talisay to Cebu City area. Daghan nakasaway. Daghan ko nung makasakay. What happened yesterday?
Muna akong giingon, kung kamo gabuhat og illegal, unya kami inyong pasanginlan nga nagbuhat mis among trabaho, inyo nang problema.
Yeah.
Nganong kami may inyong pasanginlan, nagbuhat mong illegal, nadakpan mo. Mura kag niingon nga nagreklamo ang mga drug lord sa Pasig kay ni mahal na ang shabu.
Correct.
Very
well said.
Oh.
With all due respect, sir, unsa pasabot nimo sa efficient way of inspection? Kato imo giingon na 60 minutes per MV.
Taon na sa katong gifailan og kaso. Kana nga tubag is defined by
This
our
is from Philip John Borromeo.
Of course, he is the son of the person I filed a case against.
Is this the Borromeo from Talisay?
Yes.
Okay.
And you will be surprised at the next bombshell I will throw at him.
What is
But
that?
not now.
Okay.
For another time, so you will invite me again.
Can you give us a preview?
Well,
What is that?
first of all, I want to thank the Freeman and the opportunity that you have given me to speak in behalf of people who have very little or no voice to express their discontent about what is happening to Cebu City. I say this because I live in this city. When we talk about mumbling, it is a problem that I have to deal with every day. Not just me, my family, my friends, my neighbors, my relatives, everyone who lives in that place that has been affected by the seeming incompetency of government to deliver what is just, right, and fair for the people. Now, kung nasuko mo na ako for speaking my mind, I thank you that you have rendered your opinion, but you cannot impose yourself to me what I will and will not say. Having said that, I want to thank the Mayor of Cebu for engaging me in this debate and thanking him profusely for making me, or at least the symbolism of Vic Caindec, no, to speak the minds of people. And now everybody knows what I said. It does not matter who I am. All I ask is paminaw akong gisulti. Whether you choose to believe that or not, that is your choice.
Yes. Thank you very much, Director Caindec, for being with us this afternoon. We look forward to having you again in the next conversations. Again, nagkasalamat sa inyong pag-uban ng karong hapuna. This has been Fred Langido. Good afternoon.
Okay.